afternoon, everyone. My name is Jayhun. I'm a Director of Revenue based in Qatar. Welcome to our next webinar in the Hospitality Insights. Today we are meeting in the afternoon time, so we do have very much interesting topic to discuss today with you. I will just directly go to the topic name. So we will be discussing about the social media, one of the, let's say, very interesting and well-known topic and the trendy topic that's going on currently in the market, specifically in all industries, but mainly impacted as well as the travel and tech environment. So we will discuss about social media advertisement, influencers, and the bloggers strategy. So we all know from the Instagram, from the Facebook, all these influencers, about the bloggers who are writing a lot of, let's say, blog posts, and we will see how we can accelerate or apply these strategies using these influencers and bloggers in our social media advertisement, about awareness about our brand in the within the market. So today we do have very much interesting guests tonight. So before going our guest speakers, about the some housekeeping notes. Recording will be is currently recorded, so we will be having this shared this after the webinar. We do have around 1 hour to discussion to go with the, our guest speaker. Any technical issues and the questions, comments, you can put on your chat box, as well as we are live currently in our Facebook channel, so Facebook page. So we are would like us to as well subscribe to our social media channels. So today we are having the guest speaker who is well known in this kind of let's say areas, Mr. James. Welcome to our new episode that we are talking today about the social media advertisement and influencers bloggers strategy. He's a Google as well as the Facebook certified professional. He will be giving more into depth about how it works, what is the strategy, how we can apply these new trendy let's say strategies in our hotels, in the brands, in order to capture more the awareness in the market, as well as to push for the ultimately to the revenues. So welcome to our guest, Mr. James. James, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much for coming, and thank you for the time, as well as the giving some your energy about explaining on these days about these strategies. So I will just currently making you as a co-host, so you can share your screen and share with us your thoughts and the presentation. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Try share the screen if it is possible. How it goes? Let's check.
Yes, I am going to start sharing my screen now.
Okay, if you do new share and you find the button, new share.
Yes, in 1 second.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. I believe everybody can see my screen.
Colors, very good colors.
Thank you. All right.
Let's go on.
Fantastic. So as my colleague just mentioned, I am practically in this hospitality industry for the past 10 years. And particularly over the past 5 years, I've been specializing in developing and implementing multi-channel digital marketing strategies, mostly for 5-star hotels right here in Dubai. So this afternoon, we'll basically be focusing on 2 very fundamental areas of digital marketing, that's social media and influencer marketing. And as many of you already know, these particular topics, especially when it comes to social media, they've grown really, really a lot over the last couple of years. Everybody is on social media, and there's really a lot to benefit from a business point of view when it comes to having a proper social media strategy and also collaborating with influencers. So to get started, we're gonna things that we're gonna consider today is really which social media platforms are most active at the moment, and also choosing the right platform for your business and best practices for growing your business. Now, I'd like everybody to stick right to the end. I'll be sharing a couple of tips on some of the systems that I particularly found very useful and I use in my everyday work. So, to start us off, which social media platforms are the most active? As of this year, Facebook is number one on the list with over 2.5 billion active users every single month, followed by WhatsApp, YouTube, Facebook Messenger, which is actually quite interesting to see as a top five because it belongs to Facebook. WeChat is also there with a little over 1 billion users. Instagram as well following suit. TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, and Twitter and LinkedIn. Now, there are many other social media platforms out there. I haven't mentioned all of them, but today I really wanted us to focus primarily on the ones that are really at the very top of the list of social media platforms around the world. Now, you might wonder why we're looking at this and trying to figure out which social media channel is right from a business point of view, and we're going to talk about that in just a bit. So, when it comes to choosing the right platform for your business, oftentimes many people wonder, especially if you're a small business and looking to become bigger and bigger. It's one of those things that you always wonder, is social media right for me? Which social media platform should I go with? How much effort is going to be required on my part? Now, this is very common concerns. So today I want to break it down in the simplest way possible so that everyone can find or rather identify which one is best for me as a business and how we can be able to make it a success. So the first thing when it comes to choosing the right platform for your business is really we need to define what our goals when it comes to social media. Why am I opening a social media page? As a business owner, obviously our primary goal would likely be to drive sales by attracting customers, but there are other creative goals for social media that we also need to keep in mind, because if you think about it, while some brands use social media to drive things like brand recognition or even to develop friendly relationships with potential buyers, some businesses actually use social media for customer service, because nowadays one of the trends that we see, especially in hospitality, is majority people don't call, but rather they reach out to us through social media channels. So this the important thing here to keep in mind is really to first identify what is your ultimate goal for having social media on your page. The other thing you need to keep in mind is identifying your target audience. Why is this important? It is important because you need to understand who is my audience by asking yourself questions like, for example, how old are they? Are they male or female? Are they a mom or a dad? What kind of income do they have? What's their education level? And also the important thing is, what are they interested in besides my product, right? Because, for example, let's say you're a wedding planner. Now, your client might be interested in other things like sports. They might be interested in other things like planning where their honeymoon is going to be and so forth. So identifying your audience is not just saying, okay, they are interested in my line of business, but besides that, what else do they spend time doing? And that way you'll be able to know where you can find your audience and be able to get them interested in what you're selling as a business, right? Now, research which social media platforms your audience actively use. Why is this important? Every single platform has a different use. If you think about Facebook, for example, majority of the people use Facebook to connect with friends and so forth. When it comes to a platform like, for example, Twitter. Twitter is one of the platforms that majority people use it to get news and stay up to date on trending topics and so forth. For example, LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn is a professional networking site, so usually people go there to expand their interest in things like their industry and get to learn more about that. So it's really important to identify which social media platform your target audience uses so that you can know where would you spend more time and more effort in able for you to be able to reach your target audience. And moving on, one of the other things that we also need to keep in mind as well, in order for us to choose what type of platform is right for a business, is to examine the type of content that you, as an individual, as a business, because not everything works. It's not a one size fits one model. You cannot say that I'm going to create just videos about my product and it's going to be the same for all platforms. If you use that approach, you might end up losing some of your customers because they become not interested with the type of content you create. And also with the different social media platforms. For example, we know YouTube is a video platform. You cannot go around taking pictures and expect them to put them up on YouTube. It won't work, right? So you gotta be comfortable knowing very well that if I'm gonna open an account on Instagram, I need to be able to create content that is resonating on Instagram and not just doing everything the same on each and every platform. And finally, define your strategy and measure results regularly. This is really, really important because you want to know everything that you're doing, all the effort that you're putting in. Is it working? Am I doing everything correctly? Is there something that I can improve on? Can I do get some new ideas and be able to make myself even better? Once you're once you measure the results of what you're doing so far after you get started, then you'll be able to know whether you're on the right track to find success in social media for your business. Now, having considered all these things, keep in mind what are the best practices for growing your business using social media. Now, as we're going to see shortly, there are so many benefits that you can get from social media, but really the important thing is to do it right. When you have it right and you're doing it the right way, you will definitely see plenty of benefits. So the first thing you need to keep in mind is create quality content consistently. Now, many of you probably heard this phrase that consistency is key. And you might ask yourself, why? Why should I be make sure that I'm consistent with the type of content? Simply because of the fact that when you look at your feed or your Facebook feed and so forth, normally what makes you stop and look is it's when the content is really appealing and catches your interest. That's really the kind of content that this people on their tracks and like, so amazing. That's really interesting. And you don't do it just once or twice. You keep doing it consistently, and that way your followers will start seeing, every time they see something like, I know who this is. This is our business. So consistency is really important in the type of content that you create, making sure that your content has the highest quality possible. Now, the other thing you need to keep in mind as well, money behind it so that you can be able to amplify your reach and be able to connect with different other people who might have not known your brand before, but they will be able to see it once you do paid advertising. And I'm pretty sure majority of you might already know the fact that Facebook and all the other platforms, Twitter, LinkedIn, and so forth, they all offer various advertising tools. Take advantage of them and use them to be able to reach the widest audience possible, right? Well, another thing we also need to keep in mind is build audience for retargeting campaigns. What is this, you might wonder? Well, retargeting campaigns really are being able to create an audience of people who are interested in your business and be able to send them specific advertisements that are relevant to what products or services that they're interested in, which you can offer. This is really important because someone might, for example, have shown interest or even bought something that you sell a couple of months ago, but is at the end. No, it shouldn't be, because probably down the line, another need might come up when you have a solution to offer. So keeping these people close to you, close to your business is really important so that later on you can reach out to them and say, hey, by the way, it's been a while since you bought this product from us. What do you think? Would you like to get it again? Or maybe go back to them and say, hey, we've introduced something new. How about you give it a try? Just because a customer has come and bought something from you and then went their way doesn't mean it has to be the end of your relationship with them. You have to keep that relationship warm and ongoing so that whenever you've got something new or whenever you've got something interesting to share with them, you get back to them and say, look at this, and help them always keep your brand in the surface of their minds. It's really important to have retargeting campaigns. Now, another thing that is really a best practice when it comes to social media is organizing contests, giveaways, or even offering discounts. Now, I'm pretty sure every one of us on social media, we often come across different brands that are offering certain discounts during certain seasons, for example, Black Friday sale and so forth. Now, this shouldn't be the only times when you reward your customers. Really, you want to always give your customers a reason to feel loyal to your brand, and you can do so by offering giveaways and running contests. And the best part is when you do this, you actually get the opportunity to grow your audience, because what happens is when you're doing a contest, oftentimes brands, they tell customers to, for example, tag a friend or share this with a friend. And by doing so, actually, this audience markets your brand on your behalf to people that they know. And what does that do? It actually helps you grow further. You're able to reach new audiences that had never probably heard about your brand before. So it's also a really nice thing to always keep in mind so that we can be able to grow our business using social media. Now, finally, collaborate with influencers. Now, this is one of the most talked about things, not just in hospitality, but in many, many industries around the world. Influencers have surfaced over the last couple of years quite a lot, and it's one of the things that is also recommended as best practices. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but keep in mind these are some of the main benefits that we can always use to be able to grow our business using social media. Does anyone have a question up until now? All right, great. Now,
for the time being, I guess.
All right, super. So to just summarize everything that we've gone through, I've got a 2-minute video that I'd like to show you. This will simply just we talked about so that everyone can get something from our discussion. All right, I'm gonna play.
Social media. There's absolutely no way you haven't heard of it yet. Over the last few years, social media has completely changed the internet. Actually, it has changed the whole world, and also the world of marketing. So what are the reasons for your business to start utilizing these new forms of communication as soon as possible? These are the 7 most important ones. Number 1, showcase your brand. Social media offers another marketing channel for creating brand awareness, relationship building, or driving new sales. So why not use it? Especially when it's free, right? Number 2, develop a loyal community. People enjoy being part of a business that is proactively building a lively community. Such an online community can help you establish an emotional connection between your company and your prospects, which is essential for your long-term success. Number 3, improve customer service. Social media is a great feedback source. Enabling your prospects to communicate with your company and each other can greatly improve your customer service and increase brand trustworthiness. Number 4, increase digital exposure. Interacting in social networks can significantly increase your online presence. Social media leads to massive exposure due to its worldwide access, sharing capabilities, and huge amount of daily users. Number 5, boost traffic and search engine rating. Social media is a major lead generator, and it constantly brings high-volume traffic to your website. They can also help with SEO, since search engines significantly reflect your social media content. Number 6, expand sales and reach a new audience. Listening to your prospects on social networks can help you respond to their specific needs. This will most likely cause an increase in sales, but also expand your customer base. Number 7, cut marketing costs. Compared to traditional channels like print or advertising, social media marketing is affordable for any business. Remember that the channel itself is free.
Wonderful. So that video just simply clarified, or rather simplified, everything that we've just done, we've just discussed about. So if there's something you can take away those few points to be able to help you grow in social media marketing. Great. So now we're just going to move on to our next topic, influencer marketing. Now, this is one of the major topics that are often spoken about in hospitality, in beauty industries, in fashion industries, in so many industries out there. Who are influencers? Why should we work with them? So today, let us look at two major things. Why should you collaborate with influencers, and how do you identify and work with the right influencers? So I'm going to take you through some of the things that I always consider and have so far helped me become successful in influencer marketing. And I hope these insights will be able to help you as well in your career. So the first thing to consider, why should you work with, or rather collaborate with, influencers? Now, this is one of the things that you always need to keep in mind. Influencers have a good audience that they have a connection to. They always listen to what the influencers talk about. So when an influencer collaborates with your business, they help increase brand visibility and awareness to an audience that may or may not have known about your business before. So these influencers are able to help your business become known to their followers. The other thing is they can help generate new leads and sales for you. How is that possible? Think about it this way. Let's say you've got a product that is currently on offer. Say you're doing, 30% discount on the latest summer wear that you have selling. Now, if an influencer goes out and says to their followers, hey, go down to this shop, they're doing 30%. That way, you easily make new customers from an influencer, right? And not only that, nowadays, since majority of businesses are online, you could see the same type of conversions happening through your website. Another benefit is you will be able to get more followers for your account, especially if you think about a new business. You start from 0 followers, right? But the more influencers you work with, the more followers who are with the influencer will start following you as a company, as a business. And that can easily grow your audience and potentially get new customers. Another benefit is it improves brand loyalty and trust. Do you know what that is? It's a simple thing where you develop a very strong connection with your customer. The more your customers see an influencer using your products, your services, because they trust the opinion of an influencer, their loyalty to your brand automatically grows. Think about it this way. The last time you enjoyed a wonderful experience, or the last time you bought something that you were really happy about, did you not tell all your friends or your family about it? And you were like, you guys must try this. I really loved it. How about you try it as well? By doing that, you yourself are an influencer. You influence the decision of other people to try something because you loved it and you were really happy about it. It's the same thing. That's why businesses work with influencers, because they have an audience that trusts them, and in turn that audience will trust you and will become loyal to your business because of the opinion of the influencer. It's wonderful. Now, the thing that we need to consider, all influencers are really good, but how do we know which influencer you should work with? How can you decide? It's really important, because just because someone has 10 million followers doesn't necessarily mean they're right for you. It's always important to keep in mind that I, as a business, should always decide who to work with and who might not be the best one to work with. How do you do this? One thing that you first and foremost have to do is you have to evaluate the influencers' profile to see what are their engagement like, what are their followers like, where they're from, and so forth. It is important to understand how your target influencer was able to achieve the number of followers that they have, and whether those followers will actually be a good audience for you. In my experience, I've worked with different tools like Hype Auditor, Social Blade, and Social Bakers. There are many tools out there, but these three I personally have experience with, and I really have found a lot of benefits. And that's why I'm talking about them today, because you can be able to see really how beneficial they are. And I'm going to show you a quick example, right? I will share my screen to show you how an example of how this tool can be used for your business. Just bear with me 1 second. Here we go. So Hype Auditor, this is how it looks like. And it's a research tool where you can be able to see a lot of influencers out there and be able to understand who they are and what benefit they can bring to your business. I'm gonna do a quick search of a profile. Does anyone want to suggest any influencer they might want to look up?
Maybe you can do the Dan.
All right, let's see. Dan is at DAN.
Yes, I guess this
How do
Dan Bilzerian. You know this guy, I guess.
All right, there we go. All right, let's see how Dan's profile is. I hope everybody can see my screen clearly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, it's loading. Here we go. So let's look at Dan. Dan has 32 million followers on Instagram, and a very interesting metric that I always look at is this one right here. It's called engagement rate. Now, why is this important? This basically tells you, out of all the followers that Dan has, what is the percentage of audience that actually interact with his content? How many people like, how many people comment, how many people share his posts? Now we see here 6% of his audience actually responds to his audience, to his content. Now you can see here a very important thing, audience quality score. This is really important because then you can be able to see what is the quality of the audience. Does he have an audience that is highly engaged, or does he have bots on his profile? That is important to know. Where is his audience from? As you can see here, majority, 25% of his audience are from India, 12% from the US, Iran, and so forth. And this particular section on my right hand, this is really important to keep in mind, because this is where you get to see, does the person have real people, or does the person have majority of fake followers? This is important as a business because you want to work with an influencer who can actually speak to right people, to actual people, not to robots and so forth, right? You can also be able to see what is the gender, the demographics, and so forth. Now, down here is an important thing that I also look at, audience interest. remember earlier on, we spoke about the fact that you need to understand what type of audience works for you. What are your audience interested in? And here, let's say if you're in the beauty and fashion industry, you can see here 60% of his audience is actually interested in beauty. So if you're a beauty brand, this is actually a good influencer to work with because you will be able to reach an audience that is interested in beauty and fashion. You can also see the average income of the audience of Dan, which is really important. Now, down here is another important thing to take into consideration. The growth pattern, you can see since the beginning of 2015 all the way to this year, how Dan has been able to grow his audience. And as well, how does he follow or unfollow people? And this is important to know because this is where you'll see if there's any fluctuations. Someone is having more followers one day, another day all the followers are abandoning him and are unfollowing him. That you can see here, and that will help you determine whether this person has genuine followers or actually they are buying followers. We know this happens quite a lot, right? I will show you an example of actually a profile that might not meet a lot of criteria in just a second. Let's look at this one, for example. This profile has about 75,000 followers and the engagement rate, very low, right? Now, if you go down to the audience, you always get a notification when you're using Hypodata saying more than 25% are mass followers, as you can see over here. And this, as a business, should raise a flag for you because you will realize that the unfortunate thing of having mass followers in an influencer's account, it means these people who are categorized as mass followers have more than, rather they're following more than 1,000 profiles, which means they are very likely not going to see any content that is posted by this influencer. And that's why you see the engagement rate is low for this particular influencer. The majority of her followers, they don't get to see whatever she's posting because they are following more than 1,000 people at the same time. And unfortunately, when you go down, you can see it here. Do you see the trend on followers here?
Okay.
Unfortunately, when you see such a spike, it's very likely these followers are not real. Otherwise, they would consistently continue growing. But as you can see, the negative trend here, the followers are decreasing because what Instagram does, the algorithm actually deletes fake profiles every single day. So if you have fake profiles on your account, they're not going to last very long and they will start decreasing. So these are just some examples of the things that you can keep in mind when choosing influencers so that you can make sure that you're choosing influencers who are genuine, influencers who can actually bring benefits to your business. All right, excellent. So another thing that we can consider in order to identify and work with the right influencers is we need to communicate your goals and be able to set clear objectives. Tell the influencer what you want to achieve. If your goal is to drive business, make sure that the influencer communicates what benefits your products, your services have so that people can come and convert and buy and the products and services that you have. If your goal is probably just to gain followers, then make sure that this is communicated to the influencer so that he or she will know what message he or she will give to the audience, you know. So it's important that you have an understanding with the influencer so that both of you are happy with how the collaboration works out. And it's important to also say, is it a paid partnership or is it a barter partnership where you can offer a product in exchange for content creation with the influencer? So it's always important to keep that in mind, that your terms of partnership are very clear so that both the influencer and your business have the same benefits at the end of the collaboration. And lastly, it's important to track and measure results. There is no point of doing any form of partnership if you're not going to check to see if it performed well or not, and to be able to go back and say, okay, this influencer, it worked really well for me, this one did not, so maybe next time I'll use a different approach, I'll select someone different, and so forth. It's important to always measure the success of any campaign that you do. Without reporting and measuring, then really
James? I guess, yeah, I guess we have a small issue. James, you are with us?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Perfect.
I think I dropped off by mistake. Apologies.
Okay. No worries. No worries. You can share your screen.
So, are there any questions from our discussion?
Yes, actually, we do have questions. Are you going to share your screen back again?
Yes. 1 second. Just sharing it now.
Okay.
Here we go.
So I will just jump to the questions. It's the right time, actually. So we finished the presentation. So basically, question is, when you are talking about the target marketing for the business, how we can identify target marketing? This is a one.
So when it comes to identifying target market, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yeah.
All right. So it's important to consider one thing. Basically, what you want to understand is who is your potential customer. Before you can be able to start advertising and so forth, you need to identify who is my customer, what do they look like, what are they interested in, are they 25 years old, are they 50 years who do I want to target? Because if, let's say, for example, I like using the example of wedding.
I guess your voice is gone again. James, do you hear us? I guess he's dropped from the line. Let's wait. Okay, we do have a couple questions. We are waiting him to join back again. Okay, good. We are back. Do you hear us? Okay, you are back.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm not sure what's happening with my connection here.
No worries, no worries. So we were talking about the target marketing.
Target audience, yes.
Yeah.
I was just saying the one thing that we always need to keep in mind is we need to understand build a profile of who your audience is, and based on that, you will be able to determine who works for you. So as I was saying, if you're a wedding planner, naturally your customer is someone who is either engaged or in a relationship, and they're looking to plan their wedding. And you'll be able to, from social media, narrow down people based on their interests. So when people are actively searching for wedding venues and so forth, this will help you to see that the person is interested in hosting a wedding, and that you classify as your audience. So this is really important to be able to build a profile, and that becomes your audience for marketing.
At the same time, I guess there is a media agencies that who provides with these reports, I guess, yeah, James, with all these reports that specifically, for example, for Dubai, what are the people are using? Are they using the journals, newspapers, the female and male, let's say, split of the people using journal and the newspaper, or I don't know, the Facebook and the Snapchat as well as the YouTube, so you can understand if the male are more
absolutely
you may using more Snapchat or
there are many agencies.
Yeah,
there are many
yes please.
In Dubai, for example, that offer these kind of services. But the good thing is with social media, you can also access these reports for free, because Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of these have an audience analytics section for businesses to be able to narrow down and identify people based on their interests. So you can go to an agency and normally you would get charged a small fee for that, but you can also use the free tools available with Facebook, Instagram, and other social media platforms to be able to find the same type of insights. And what better way to do it than, you know, with a free tool that social media offers. And everyone, like we said, is on social media, so it has very accurate insights.
Yeah. Apart from that, we do have another question: how influencers can generate revenue for our business? So I guess we talked about how what is the impact. I will switch to another question. Can we say that the influencer marketing is also affiliate marketing? Is a type of affiliate marketing?
You can classify it as a type of affiliate marketing because generally speaking, an influencer in most cases has their own blog, right? So essentially they would be publishing your products and services on their blog, and even an Instagram profile for an influencer is really a blog as well. So yeah, it can be classified as well as part of affiliate marketing.
Okay, good. Because as far as I know, they provide link, or in affiliate marketing as well, you provide a specific link to do, for example, to buy the product or the services, as well as the influencer, they can provide the, let's say, link to the directly to the website of the hotel, or let's say the outlet, let's say, number with the promo code. It somehow it comes under the affiliate marketing.
That's true. And actually, that's the best way to measure the success of your influencer marketing campaign. Give the influencer something like a discount or a promo code that they can share with their users. And that way, you can see how many of their users actually made a purchase. And you can be able to see how successful your campaign is as a result.
Yes, if it is really paid on the ground, because sometimes people are clicking, you see that everybody's engagement score is high, but how it ends up in the revenue in terms of the in the pocket, this is the only way that we can find out. What is the what is the accepted engagement score for the influencer? Let's say we have seen 6 point, we have seen 0.75. What is the average that we can have a look?
I generally don't like to generalize because it really depends on the number of followers an influencer has, right? So usually I would say for macro influencers, let's say 100,000 followers and above, generally you should look at something that is higher than 1.5 or 2% engagement rate, because the bigger the audience, usually the less the engagement, because 100,000 followers doesn't mean that 100,000 people will see the content every single day, right? As we know, the algorithm of Instagram does not work like that. Not your 100% of your audience will see your content. But in my experience, what I've seen is generally with influencers who have less followers, less than 100,000 followers, the engagement rates are much more higher because their followers are more engaged and they see more of their content. So in such cases, I usually go with anything more than 2% engagement rate is someone who is worth working with. But obviously, as a business, the higher the engagement rate, the higher the percentage, the better chances you have of working successfully with an influencer.
Okay. Good. I guess I have another question. Do you think that, James, this influencer marketing is oversaturated? Let's say oversaturated in these days. How you see that in the future?
Generally speaking, there has been a huge increase in influencers, particularly in this region. We've seen such a huge surge of influencers coming up. And I wouldn't say it's oversaturated, because if you think about it from a business point of view, is the more influencers there are, the more variety you have.
Okay.
And with more variety, that means as a business, you do not have to depend on the same influencers for every collaboration. You can always work with more and more influencers as long as their audience is right for your business.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Because what I have seen here in Qatar, we don't have that much influencers. Okay, for example, the people coming in our hotel is the Qataris, but the influencers, let's say, they are, let's say, with the Indian background. So it's a little bit tricky to find out the Qatari influencer, which is really had a high engagement score, let's say. So we don't have a lot of choices, let's say, in terms of that one. So if, for example, we had, let's say, 100 or 500 people who has a more than the 6% or a 2% engagement score, it will pay off at some point.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Perfect. I guess.
Well,
yes, please.
I was just gonna say, your case is actually quite unique, I would say, because if I think about in the UAE, this is where I've seen quite the opposite, where there is a lot of influencers who are here. And I guess generally it's because there's a lot of people who are coming from different countries from around the world, and they were influencers in their country, and now they've moved here and they become part of the number of influencers here. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But do you think that UAE, let's say, for example, is the let's say UAE background influencer has a highest engagement score? It depends from the nationality to nationality, because some people, they check the Instagram post, but they don't really take action in terms. I'm talking about specifically with the Arab nationalities. Let's say.
I think what I've observed in my experience is in this particular region, especially, the engagement of influencers depends on what their focus is. So what I've noticed is majority of the influencers were into beauty and fashion, and also those who are into travel. These are the ones who are mostly with the high engagement rates. The other ones in other different types of focus, they vary a lot. But generally, from what I've observed, majority of those with the highest engagement rate are mainly in fashion, beauty, and travel.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I guess that's it. We don't have any questions so far, James. It is a very nice topic.
Right.
We can talk hours and hours, because it's very much trendy. I'm very much interested actually to have another session with you. But for now, I guess it's almost 1 hour, and it was very great conversation with you. Thank you for coming.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, and thank you so much for having me. Thank you everyone for joining in. I hope we were all able to take something home that we can use in our businesses or in our career.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe definitely in the future we will have hosting you again in our channel. So as the social media is really very much getting more interest, and it's almost a part of our life, let's say. Thank you. So I guess we're gonna move forward with the finishing of the webinar. So hopefully we will see each other on the next webinar in the next Friday. Thank you for joining. So we will be sharing the webinar recording afterwards in our YouTube channel as well, and we'll also post the presentation to our Dropbox address, where you can just have access to all our presentations that we used to have. So please feel free, use that, and
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.